Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's Friday, January 14th, 2022. We're very glad you're with us this morning. Our agenda today, we'll start out with success stories. I haven't heard of any landings. Nobody emailed me this week, but maybe somebody in the call's got some good news to share. After that, we'll have everybody put their 30-second reductions into the chat box. We'll then go to our committee reports. We'll hear about workshop, job fairs, the interview success workshop, the career tip of the week, and then we'll have our main event right around 10 o'clock or so. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just open the Zoom chat window. For those watching on Facebook, you're welcome to enter your comments and questions into the comment field. We are monitoring that feed. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I started facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the leader of the group got a job and said, who wanted to take over? And I think I scratched my face. He said, okay, Jeff, you're it. So I've been doing that since. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org. To help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. You can find it on Amazon. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about that in just a couple of moments. We like to start the meeting off with success stories. Do we have any landings or any announcements that we need to make for people who have landed? Going once, going twice? Steve, that is the same handout that I sent out yesterday. So in the chat box, I did put the handout for today's program. If you haven't had a chance to download it, and I'll put it back in there again in about 5 or 10 minutes for those who are just joining us a little bit late. Okay, let's go on. All right, so if you will, please open up the chat box, and we'd like you to put in your personal information. We'd like to have your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies, and then hit the return key. That way, all your information will be right together. And I will be sure to put all that information into an email, put out to everybody this afternoon around lunchtime. Please look it over and see who can you help on the list. Also, by doing this, this is where I gather everybody's names to update the roster. So if you're using this as a workforce commission event and you want to verify that you're here, please let me know, and I'll make sure that information gets put onto the roster that I also will attach and send out to everybody so you can connect with everybody who was on the call today. So we'll put 30 seconds on the clock. And for those people watching on Facebook, if you want to put your contact information in, the information on the screen, I will delete it right after the meeting, so it won't be hanging out there forever and ever. I'll just collect the information and move, and we'll keep going. Okay, it's time to hear about job, career fairs, training, and workshops. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. As Jeff said, my name is Eldon Zarinsky, and I'm here to bring you information on career and job fairs and special workshops or events that are going to be coming up in the next week or so. The information I'm about to convey to you comes from the calendar tab at the website careerdfw.org, which is on your screen even as I'm speaking. The various colors on the calendar indicate various subtopics that the calendar is broken out into, and of those, I cover the 2 career and job fairs, special workshops, or events. I go through this material fairly quickly, so if you hear something that catches your ear, I urge you to go to the calendar, click on the appropriate tab, find the item, click on that, and you'll usually find a link or that will allow you to register and or participate in the event. All right, having said that, this week's career and job fairs. The State Farm Virtual Career Fair will be held Thursday, January 20th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the new career you in 2022. Live information sessions with hiring managers will be held on this one. This week's special workshops or events. Online LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Join Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, or Kurt Vondemutter each week for an online session on LinkedIn. This again is Tuesday, January 18th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. There's a Zoom link and a Facebook link to participate in that event. Also online, the CSN Recruiter Roundup will be held Tuesday, January 18th from 6:45 to 8:15 p.m. This event is a recurring event on the third Tuesday of each month, complete with a panel of very experienced recruiters, including Gail Houston, Rex Showat, Abby Kohut, Paul Cameron, Rick Martinez, Andy Cook, Mary Leone, and Shelley Casino. And if you haven't participated in that event to get to know those recruiters, I urge you to do so. And there's a Zoom link on the calendar for that one. Also online, the Who You Know Career Transition Summit will be held Wednesday, January 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This event is hosted by Foster Williams, who is also a local area recruiter, a great guy. If you don't know Foster, I would urge you to get to know him. And there is a link on the calendar to register for that event. Again, online, interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m. For Wednesday, there will be a virtual practice slot available at 1 p.m. It'll be in webinar format. So this is the part of the practice interview team approach to getting their word out. And there's a Zoom link for that. And Mark, I guess we'll have to talk about the sessions that they normally do on interviewing and when that's what's coming up on that. Also online, Effective Resume Seminar will be held Thursday, January 20th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And there's a Zoom link and a Facebook link to join that one. And on Friday, January 21st from 7:40 a.m. to 9 a.m. Online, the third Friday Internet of Things Special Interest Group Breakfast. And there's a link to find out more about that. That's hosted by Ed Hightower. And it brings together local area experts who deal in the Internet of Things. So if that's an interest of yours, I urge you to participate in that event. And that's it for this week.
Eldon, thank you very, very much. All right. If you know somebody who's unemployed, please let them know about Career DFW and CareerUSA.org. Two websites, they're totally free to help the unemployed here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and around the country. All right, time to hear from the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, everyone. And let me tell you a little bit about the practice interview team. Before I get started with that, I need to say that everything the pit crew does is absolutely free, so don't be worried about any expense associated with the pit crew. And also, I'm still looking to add some more people to the volunteer list. The volunteer list, or we call them panelists. They're the ones who actually give the interviews. And there's only one prerequisite, and that's that you've been a hiring manager as part of your professional responsibility. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you want to be a giver during your transition, then give me a call and I'll tell you how to get involved. So the pit crew is all about increasing your confidence that you can handle your interview, handle any interview situation well, right? So we want you to be able to tell your story in any way you get an opportunity to tell it, because sometimes the interviewers can be difficult, or they ask you a question that surprises you. So that's what we give you a chance to do. It's based on a job description and a resume that you provide, so it's very focused on what you're interested in and the jobs that you're actually pursuing. And you send that information in advance, and we study up. We, being the volunteers who give the interviews, we study up. We come very well prepared to give you a chance to convince us that you're the right person for the job. And our tagline is practice early and practice often. So you can practice for more than one role, more than one position. You may practice for one and not get that. We'll come back and practice for the next one that comes up. And you can even practice if you don't have anything in hand. If you haven't, you just find a job description that looks good to you, maybe it's your dream job, and send that in and practice. And I think you're going to find that, there's some area of improvement. We try to help people, from the level they are to the next level in interviewing. So that's the way the pit crew works. When you're ready, I'm going to post up my information here. When you're at, I just put in the chat window how to reach me. DallasPitCrew@gmail.com is the best way. Please don't reach out to me through LinkedIn to request a practice interview. I'll just tell you to send that request to DallasPitCrew@gmail.com. So that's a dedicated email to the pit crew. That's where I keep track of all my activities related to the pit crew. And I got a couple of other things that I do to help you, be a successful interviewer. And this one here is we also offer one-way interviews. So this is where you just talk to a program that's recording your answers. And so if you're interested in that, just send your request to DallasPitCrew@gmail.com, and I'll send back a description of how it works. And then you can decide if you want to engage or not. But it's all pretty much automated, and it's totally confidential. Nobody will see the video of your one-way interview recording. Here's my LinkedIn profile. So just send me a brief note that said we met on the North Dallas Career Focus Group, and I'll add you to my network, which will help you find contacts inside target companies. And then finally, I also coach. But I just coach on one topic. Walt's going to talk here next. He's really a coach. He handles lots of different topics. I handle one topic, and that's how to answer the question, why did you leave your last position? So if that's going to cause you some difficulty, if you're not going to be able to answer that with brevity and confidence, then let's just have a one-on-one discussion, and we'll figure out how to answer, that question for your particular situation. And also any follow-up questions that may be generated by your story or your situation. So session takes, 45 minutes to an hour. We'll get into it pretty deeply. And afterwards, you'll have more confidence if that question comes up that you can handle it well. That's it, Jeff. Thank you.
Whoop, one more thing. You want to talk about Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot to give the schedule. Okay. Yeah, good. So practice interviews. Yeah, there we go. Liz is laughing at me. Yeah. I always forget something. So practice interviews are now more structured than they were last year. Okay. So we have practice interviews on Tuesday evening. We have practice interview on Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and we have a practice interview at 3 o'clock. So those are the time slots that are available. I really encourage you to help others, help yourself and help others by practicing on Wednesday afternoon, because that one's done in webinar format. And so other people will be able to observe your interview. Now you won't see them. We have it set up so only the candidate, you, and the interviewers are visible on the screen, and it's not recorded. So if you are interested in observing a practice interview at 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoons, then you have to come to the meeting. You're not going to be able to see it afterwards. Okay, so it's real time, one and done. So that's a great opportunity for you as an observer, but also for you as a candidate to help others, based on the interview experience that you have. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, and this is sort of leading to hopefully when we get back in person, when we used to do 3 or 4 interviews in person, you didn't have an opportunity to do it privately. So you were doing it in front of other people who were watching. They were all sitting behind you. So it's sort of the same event. So we're hoping that in the next couple of months, we can get back to be doing the 1 o'clock interviews on Wednesday in person. So
yeah, and we'll be, even after that, we'll be streaming them from the church, streaming one of them from the church. Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, Walt.
Good morning, everyone. Mark, we have to change it. We don't forget. We are just remembering challenged. So that's the new
remembering challenge. Yeah. We don't forget, do we?
Yeah, we don't forget anything. All right. So, well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. I enjoy helping people gain confidence and skills for successful hiring interviews in the job search. And so how do I do that? I offer the interview success workshop. This is also free. I did have one person who did send me some money. I did not ask him for any money, but it's great. It's a lot of Monopoly money, and I'm going to use it next time to hide in my pocket for the next time I play Monopoly. I think I can corner the market. Anyway, What's the workshop all about? Well, it is also an interview. It's very informal. We do it online. You will get a recording of the interview, but we've got to cover the fundamentals of selling, who we are, what we do, and how we can help, which is my definition of selling ourselves. I see a lot of interviews that sell the I do. I've done this, I do this, I do this. I see some of the I am, that's our soft skills, our personality, our characteristics. But I see very little of how I can help you, which is the reason why people are really hiring somebody anyway. There's certain needs, there's certain challenges or whatever, objectives, goals that they have that they would like this person to accomplish. So I can combine who I am and what I do to provide the help that you're looking for me to provide to you as a department, as a company, as a business. So that's what we talk about. And so in this interview, since it's very informal, and that's the workshop part of it, you can pause and think. What a clever idea of stopping and thinking about what you're going to say instead of just starting to talk and rambling on and forgetting what the question was. You can start over, we can interrupt, we can talk a little bit. So it's a discussion. It's just a workshop to improve our skills and to try to get better. So you don't need your stress hat. You don't need your anxiety hat. All you do is put on your learning hat and come and say, well, I just want to get better. I want to see how I can do it. And I can provide you with some options, strategies, structures, things that we might look at. Because every question has 3 parameters in how we form a response. That's who's asking, what the question is, and where you are in the process. So when we think about those 3 things, that'll help structure the response that we want to give. So we can do that. All you got to do, send me an email to my Yahoo address, which I like Mark, I have a specific address just for the workshop, and request a time because you have to be registered to attend. If you look at my about section on LinkedIn, you'll see more information because it's all about the workshop itself. So I'll be glad to have you participate and enjoy, and you can have some learning without squirming. Is interviewing like a ritual satanic that causes you stress and panic? No worry, no fear. Practice interviewing is here. It'll keep you off the Titanic.
Walt, thank you very, very much. All right, it's time to hear from the career tip of the week. Liz is back with us after taking a week off last week. Thank you for being with us. Good morning, Liz.
Well, good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. And Jeff, you are on the ball. The tip of the week is 4 tips of researching in a company before jumping into the interview by Don Goodman, Aaron Sanborn. You may have spent hours perfecting your resume, and to finally get that call from the employer to come in for an interview feels fantastic, but don't stop the hard work and start relaxing just yet. Taking time to do research before the job interview is the difference between winning the employer over and losing your shot at the job to someone else. Clearly, you should know some basics about the employer, like what they do, what they offer, who's their audience, where they have offices, and who are the key members of management. It also helps to know more about the individuals you'll be meeting with. Going into the interview armed with as much information as possible about the company helps serve 2 really big purposes. You'll be able to give an intelligent response when the hiring manager asks you what you know about the company and your potential fit. You can use your knowledge of the company to put together some good questions for when it's your time to ask questions during the job interview. So here are some tips on where to go to load up on information about the company. Number 1, the company website. Companies put a lot of effort into their websites because they're great tools for promoting their brands and attracting new talent. And even the most basic company website offers some form of information to help you prepare for a job interview. Refer to sections like About Us to learn about the basics of the company. The news press releases to be informed about the latest news and developments at the company. Management, where you can become familiar with important names and see details of who heads the particular department you want to job in, and locations, so you see where offices are located. Even if you're not in sales or marketing, you should also look over sections of the website that talk about services, products, and partners. Another tip is social media accounts. Not every employer will have a Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram account, but for those who do, they're easy resources to go through to pull a lot of information quickly. Through what they post and the tone of their postings, you can learn a lot about the company and its company culture. Photos and videos posted on these sites can also give you a sense of the dress code, the work environment, and show your faces of important individuals. Job seekers should also use sites like Indeed and Glassdoor to see what the company's employees have to say about it. Another tip is LinkedIn, and that is LinkedIn is particularly helpful because it offers most of what other social media accounts offer, but more. By this, we mean it can put you directly in touch with individuals at the organization. Read up on the individuals you'll be meeting, like the HR manager, the head of the department for the job you want, and other workers who may work in the same department. You can even search for people who used to be in the company and find the individual who might have held the job you are seeking. LinkedIn is much more of a professional social media platform, so you can expect its pages to include business-oriented news that can help you prepare for the job interview. Another tip is online news and industry news. If you're looking to really impress, also read up on industry news and know what's happening in the space so you can have an intelligent conversation. Employers are impressed by applicants who not only know its business, but about its market and competitors as well. It doesn't take a lot to come off prepared for job interview with the various online resources readily available with information. Armed with the information, you are prepared to respond and ask good questions at the job interview so that you solidify the message that you are a serious contender. Well, good luck, everyone, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very, very much. And I apologize for not having the right graphics up today. I don't know what happened. I'm 2022. I'm not off to a good start here. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Lunch report. Due to the high COVID numbers, we're not going to have an organized lunch today. So everybody, please, stay safe, and hopefully your friends and family are staying as safe as possible through this latest outbreak that we've got going on right now. Coming up in just a couple minutes, our speaker, Fred Shlesinger, will be with us to talk about how to be a better brand. This will be part one of a two-parts session we're going to do. Coming up next week, we'll do session 2 of Be a Better Brand. So part 1 this week, part 2 next week. And then the last Friday of the month, Elizabeth Lyons will be with us to talk about job seeking post-pandemic 2022. She's done some research she's a recruiter and done some research and provided some information, what her company's seeing and what their CEO is sort of predicting coming out for 2022. All right, it's time for our main event. If you've been with us before, if you've been in job transition before around the first of the year, Fred's with us. The last several years, have had Fred kick off our thing. Fred's been with us, I think 10 or 11, maybe even 12 years. He's presented every year talking about branding and being a better brand. If you remember him from a couple of years ago, his LinkedIn profile had a more professional picture, but he's now retired and tennis is his passion and what he's doing. So that's why he's got tennis rackets in the back of what he does. So Fred, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Well, good morning, Jeff. And again, thank you for having me. It's been, like you said, several years, probably made about 10 or 12 of these versions of this presentation. But what's amazing is how the whole concept and the whole topic of branding in the business world has gained incredible trajectory. And I've been delivering these branding workshops for now the better part of 7 or 8 years, along with my financial wellness workshops. But I want to give you guys a little background. I see some familiar names on the call today, which is exciting. And I want to be able just to give you all a little background on myself and how it relates to your particular job situation, job seeking situation. So for 27 years, I enjoyed a very successful career in the high end of the men's clothing business. I have an extensive textile background, and I used to spend a lot of my time in Italy designing my own collections, selling to the finest men's clothing stores, the Neiman Marcus's, the Bergdorf Goodmans. And that all came to a screeching halt right around 1999, 2000, when IBM sent out in those days, a memo. It wasn't an email. They didn't have emails then, but a memo saying that we're going to try something that we're going to be calling corporate casual. So we've done some focus group studies, and we realized that if our male executives don't have a tightly bound piece of silk around their neck, it will create more blood flow, more creativity, more productivity. So we're going to ask you to come in just a polo shirt and a nice, comfortable pair of trousers, no longer a suit and tie. And that, ladies and gentlemen, started the whole tidal wave of Casual Friday, corporate casual, business casual, whatever it's called today. However, it put the better men's business or the better clothing business out of business. And so all of a sudden, after 27 years, I'm faced with no clients because men's stores were going out of business left and right, particularly the stores that sold suits, and most of them did. So in the early 2000s, I had to step back, assess who I am, and reinvent myself. And it was in the early 2000s that I came up with this whole concept of rebranding. And you'll see on the workbooks that Jeff will put up on the screen soon, on page 5, there is a self-inventory quadrant that I urge each and every one of you to take very seriously and fill out. And I actually created this and did this with my wife to understand what transferable skills, talents, assets, and liabilities I had to transition into a new industry, since the industry I was in was decimated. And today it's a shell of an industry, and there's a handful of men's clothing stores left in the United States and Canada. So after a tremendous amount of introspective thinking and partnering up with some professional friends who are in the recruiting business, I got licensed and became a financial advisor in 2004. And from 2004 up until last year, I was a fully licensed financial advisor, built a very successful book of over 800 clients. And a year ago, October, sold my practice, took my pension, and now have rebranded myself to start my third career, which is as a USPTA certified teaching professional. So I teach full time in my hybrid retirement. We'll talk about that if you want later. And I am loving life. I'm enjoying myself. A lot of the financial pressures are off my back. And I'm building up a wonderful clientele. And as of 1:20 this morning, I became a grandfather for the first time. So we welcomed our beautiful little granddaughter into the world, Sierra May. This is my oldest daughter, Eliza, who is a very successful stand-up comedian in LA. And it's her first baby and our first grandbaby. So life is not good. It's great. It's wonderful. And I'm first enjoying my life more now than ever before. So Jeff, can you put up the workbook up on the screen, please? There you go. And let's go to page, let's go past the bio. You guys could read the bio at your leisure. But I've basically given you my bio. There you go, right there. Thank you so much. So this is highly interactive. And Jeff, if you want to man the chat line, that'd be great. Congratulations. Thank you very much. But any questions, just put them in the chat box and I will stop and address them. I'm not going to wait till the very end of our presentation. I am highly interactive, and if we were doing this in person, as we did pre-pandemic, you would see that I will stop and answer your questions. But the whole concept of branding starts with you and your paradigms. And so I'm very briefly going to talk about what a paradigm is to make sure everybody understands what it is and how you need to create that paradigm shift in between your ears to be able to understand who you are and to be able to understand how people see you. And it is so important that you align that you align your self-perception with the perception of others. So a paradigm is simply a way of thinking about something, about someone. It's essentially an opinion that you formed, and you formed it based on the way people treat you, talk to you, whatever the case may be. And so, you know, you have never really had a high regard for Bob because of what Bob did to you and your family years ago. And whenever you talk about Bob, you're not very praiseworthy. Until about 6 months ago, Bob did something that was simply amazing and helped reshape your life. And that's where you have that epiphany and that shift. And then all of a sudden you say, wow, you know what? The way I thought about Bob is different than the way I think about Bob now because of that event. So go back and make a list of the people in your life and how you think of them. And more importantly, particularly if you have the time, meet with these important people in your life and ask them, how do you see me? How do you think of me? What is your paradigm about me? And if it doesn't align with how you see yourself, you have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to stop for a second, and we're going to move on to the middle part of page 1. And I'm going to ask you to take a moment and write down 3 to 6 words that describe who you are. Now, this is not a trick question, but when I do this in these groups, what I get many, many times is what you are. And I have to stop you from thinking that way if you want to rebrand yourself, because you want to rebrand yourself about who you are. So think of the who you are as kind of a logo, a slogan, a catchphrase as to who you are, because a little later, either in this segment or next Friday, we're going to talk about business card branding and how we could take that logo slogan and implement it on a business card. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, and then if you can, do me a favor and just in the chat box, type in those 3 to 6 words. So take a few minutes to hopefully come up with something. Jerry asked, are words like meticulous a who or a what? And my answer, Jerry, is a resounding yes. You could be meticulous in who you are, and you could be meticulous in what you do. But what I'm looking for, or what you should be looking for, are words that are superlatives, that describe who you are. And that's going to ultimately go on the inside of your business card, not the back of your business card, the inside, because that's who you are inside. And we'll get to that later. So
Could some of those words be, I don't know if you're familiar with strength finders, could some of those words be your top 5 skills?
Yes, But as we'll get to on page 4, I'd rather you look at your talents than your skills, because a skill is a learned behavior. A talent is innate that can be brought out. And I always use the phrase of, I could teach you how to tell a joke, but that doesn't mean you're funny. Joke telling, skill, funny, talent. Like the beard, Jeff, you're looking good, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Very professorial.
Congratulations being a grandpa.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm like over the moon. And I'm conducting this Zoom call on my patio. It's the first time I've done a outdoor or remote Zoom call. I usually do it indoors, but I figured, what the heck? It's a
Yeah,
beautiful.
the weather's nice. Take the last day before it gets cold again.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so we got one from Kevin. Curious, adventuresome mission. I need more, guys. I need more. I'm in the middle of a Zoom call. I'll call you back. The baby looks spectacular. My daughter just FaceTimed me a picture, a live video of my brand new granddaughter. So I'm sorry. I know you're out there. We have quite a few people on the line. We got 24, and I've only gotten one response. There you go. Friendly, people person, hardworking. Good. Now we're getting warmed up. So I want you to kind of fine tune this and talk about things that might be unique to you. So don't go for generic words like hardworking. Everybody considers themselves to be hardworking. When you're in an interview, you're going to tell your potential employer how hardworking you are, how reliable you are, how punctual you are, how effective you are. But so did the previous 22 candidates. So what I want you to do is reach down and come up with things that make you unique. What makes you, what brings out the who in you? Why do people want to gravitate towards you? And why do they want to hire you and not just fill a position? So from Jerry Jones, mentor, meticulous, funny, process-oriented, analytical, patient, problem solver. We're getting warmer, but we're still talking about the what of you. Passionate servant leader, getting warmer, loving it. Everybody considers themselves to be passionate, but how many of you truly are passionate? How many of you truly have a love for who you are, a love for what you do, a love for success? We don't use the word success enough within our job-seeking journey. And at the end of the day, what an employer is looking for, which Jerry mentioned, is a problem solver. I'm hiring you to solve my blank problems, my accounting problems, my sales problems, my supply chain problems, my warehouse problems, my operation problems. I want you to be able to solve those problems, because by solving them, you're going to help make the company more profitable. So you need to be all about problem solving. You need to be all about helping companies and helping your department, your division, be more effective, be more efficient, be more profitable. Scott just sent me, hope you enjoy the meeting. Please connect. Okay. Enthusiastic, energetic learner. We're getting closer. I need about 3 or 4 more before we move on. Actions speak louder than words. Love that, Liz. Flexible. Great word. People are looking for people that are malleable, flexible. Here's another phrase you could use: dolphin-like. A dolphin is probably the most adaptable creature in our world. Caring, helpful, and adaptive. I like adaptive kind of like flexible. So we're getting closer and closer. Well, I'm going to move on. You could do this as kind of homework, because I'm going to give you some homework because we have 2 parts and we're going to meet again next Friday. So take the time to come up with the 3 to 6 words. And while you're doing that, the next segment is 3 to 6 words that describe who you need to be. In going through this exercise, you may discover that who you are is really who you need to be. In other words, you're not who you want to be. And so if you do want to be these certain aspects, if you do want to embrace certain positive aspects to become a better brand, to become a better you, then what do you need to do to be a better you? What do you need to do to be more successful? And I'm not talking about financial success. I'm talking about that success that lies within you, that emotes confidence. People want to do business. People want to hire confident people. They don't want to hire cocky people. They don't want to hire egotistical people. They don't want to hire narcissistic people. But they want to hire people that have confidence in who they are and the job that they could deliver. And they're confident in working their way into the corporate culture and becoming a contributing member of the team or of the company. So while you're trying to figure out who you are, also try to figure out who you need to be. And we're moving on to page 2. Thank you, Jeff. So for those of you that really kind of sort of think you understand what a brand is, we're going to deep dive into the actual definition of it. And as I said, branding has become an incredibly important and popular topic in business America. I don't want to say corporate America, business America, because I've spent my whole life working with and for small to medium-sized businesses. I've been a business owner, a small business owner, for the better part of 47 years. And I'm very, very big on small to medium-sized businesses. I believe that that is the engine that drives America in business. And while I'm not shortchanging the large corporations, they're wonderful and they have their place, but there's no substitute for a well-run small business. So a brand simply is your promise to your audience that they could expect something unique, there's that word again, different or special from you, which is why I asked you in your 3 to 6 words, excuse me, to come up within who you are with unique and special words, adjectives that would describe who you are. Your brand is derived from who you are, who you want to be, and who people perceive you to be. So again, going back to what I said earlier, it's very important that you align who you are to your self-perception, to the perception of others. And once you achieve that alignment, you'll see how your life will only improve. So I talk about some iconic brands. Talk about BMW, Nike, which I'll talk in a second about, the New York Yankees, and Apple. And if you look at those 4 iconic brands, some of which have been around for well over 100 years, namely the New York Yankees, you could use one word to describe that brand. So if you want to play in the chat box, give me one word that you think would describe one word. Okay, so you don't have to come up with a whole slogan or catchphrase. One word that describes BMW. One word that describes Nike. Now, speaking of Nike, going back into the late 70s, Phil Knight created Nike, and he created it out of passion. At the same time, this book came out called Running by Jim Fixx with 2 X's. And that truly started the whole running craze, probably worldwide, but certainly in America. And Phil Knight said, I really think we have something here. So he developed, invented, designed these goofy looking shoes that he called running shoes. And up until then, those of you that are over 50 remember sneakers. Nobody used the word sneakers anymore. And in those days, sneakers were, the brands were PF Flyers and Keds. Chuck Taylor, Converse made some of the first sneakers, and some of them are still around today, like the Stan Smith model of Adidas just celebrated its 50th anniversary. But he created truly something different and created a market. And the first year or two, just like the first year of Seinfeld, it was a failure. But he came back with this iconic logo, which is 3 words, just do it. And what he meant by it is, I don't care what you do in my goofy looking overpriced shoes. You could be running in it. You could be sleeping in them. You could be going out on a date with them, rock climbing. I don't care. Just do it. And what he's really was saying is, just buy these shoes for me. And of course, the rest was history. Some of the words that come up when you're dealing with Apple, for example, would be innovative. When you're dealing with the Yankees, the one word that describes that brand is winning. They've won more world championships than any other Major League Baseball team in the history of Major League Baseball. Nike, I would say Nike would be fashion. Nike would be vision. And BMW would be what? I have one, luxury. I like that, specialty. But the word that really comes to mind, and what has made BMW a great automotive brand, anybody else want to? Reliable?
Quality. A couple people said quality. One person
Yeah.
said Germany. Reliable.
Yeah, I'm going to submit to you the word engineering. They have engineered probably the finest engine in automotive history. And if you've ever owned one or driven one, you know what I'm talking about. Wasn't as reliable over the years as it is now. Now they're very reliable and they're wonderful vehicles, but their engineering was always cutting edge. Everything they did was forward thinking. So let's continue on. Unless you had any questions up until now, I want to make sure that you're all engaged in this time that we're spending together. So I would be remiss not to talk about branding and dovetailing that into the next part of the page, which is value. And so to be able to have an iconic brand, or to be able to brand yourself as an entity or rebrand yourself, the most important thing you need to deliver to anyone in your life, whether it's family, friends, business associates, employers, is value. And value is a highly overused word like passion. But what value really means is the regard that someone is held to deserve importance, worth, or usefulness. And the synonyms to value are advantage, benefit, gain, profit, and merit. So what value does your brand bring to the table? What value does your brand bring to your family as a spouse, as a parent, as an uncle, an aunt, whatever? What value does your brand bring to your circle of friends, to your social circles? What value do you bring to your clients? Those of you that are in sales and marketing that are always touching prospects and clients. What value do I bring? Because if I can't bring value to you on all these different levels, maybe you don't need me in your life, because that's what it's all about. So when you talk about, or when you are conceiving your brand, and those of you that are older, let's say north of 50, if you're looking to rebrand yourself, focus into what value I could bring to you in who you are and what you do. So that leads me into what I call your value brand statement. Years ago, when you would be on these kind of calls, someone might be talking about developing an elevator speech. The elevator speech is an antiquated concept because, frankly, with pandemic, nobody's in elevators anymore. But more importantly than that, the elevator speech was just a little quick little ditty that, you know, you're in an elevator and you turn to somebody and you could tell them what you do, not really who you are. And so I'm taking that and updating that and rebranding the elevator speech by calling it the value brand statement. So what is your value brand statement? What is your logo, your slogan? And again, when you do this, and hopefully you'll have the time between now and next Friday to do it, you'll come up with wonderful superlatives that will create what we call a competitive advantage over the other applicants, over the other salespeople, over the other marketing people, and so on, so on, and so forth. So I want you to see how this branding exercise and this introspective thought goes much deeper than what you would be doing in your next opportunity, in your next position, in your next job. But it goes deeper because it becomes so much more important when you discover who you are to live a better life outside of business with your spouse, significant other, kids, friends, all the other things that encompass your circle of life. Okay? Any comments?
Nothing new.
All right. I know you're out there. We got 24 people on the call, 22, including obviously Jeff and I. And it's a beautiful Friday out there, going to be 72 degrees, and I'm not getting a lot in my chat box. So you're either in deep thought, like Kevin is in deep thought with his hand on it. Yeah, it's okay, Kev. You look great, by the way. And we got Jerry Jones there, and he's listening in from his tropical island. Did you just recently buy that island, Jerry, or have you had that a while?
I bought it until the owner shows up.
Until you get kicked off the island. Sounds like a reality show. Okay, so let's continue on. Page 3. This is one of my favorite parts of our workshop, and I incorporated this from a wonderful book that was written by Mark Sanborn. And his first book was called The Fred Factor. I urge everyone, particularly if you're in sales and marketing or client care, to read that Fred Factor. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about his postman, his mailman, whose name was Fred, and who delivered unbelievable value-added service. And I'm going to talk a lot about value-added service. And when you're in the middle of an interview and you're looking for a new opportunity, you want to present yourself as a value-added person. So you want to present yourself by saying, I don't have a can-do attitude. A lot of people say, oh, I got a can-do attitude. No, I want you to say, I have a will-do attitude, because everybody can do something, but it's very few people that will do it. A little later on, we're going to be talking about success, and we're going to be talking about the common denominator for success. And I left it blank, but I'll let you fill it in by giving you the answer. And I want you to think about this. What is the common denominator for success? What common thread runs through all successful people? And I'm going to take a minute and pause before we get into the Mark Sanborn excerpt. Anybody want to share with the group what they think the common denominator of success is?
You're welcome to unmute your mic and offer away instead of trying to type it in.
Yeah, it's Kevin. I'd say commitment, 100% commitment.
I like it. I like it. That's certainly an important element to success.
Grit.
Grit. Somebody say grit, G-R-I-T?
Yes, sir.
Good. Love it. I love grit. I love being gritty. I love rolling up your sleeves and getting in the trenches and having that will-do attitude. Let's keep going. You're getting close. You're getting warm.
Drive.
Drive. Good.
Can do.
Can do. Well, we talked about can do versus will do, but yes.
Unstoppable commitment.
Unstoppable. Love it. Love it. And is that you, Kevin? Did you say
Yeah,
that?
that's me. That's me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And that really incorporates what the answer truly is. So the common denominator for success is willing to do the things that other people or unsuccessful people are just not willing to do. Let's take a look at sales for a second. You get unsuccessful salespeople that they go to their sales manager or VP of sales and they go, I'm just not cutting it this month. I'm having a bad month. Oh, really? Why? Well, I've called each and every prospect and, goes to voicemail or I end up I send them a text and this and that. So that's what an unsuccessful or mediocre salesperson does. Successful salesperson keeps calling, keeps making contact. Statistics are take 7 touches to get through to a prospect or a client. How many of you in sales are willing to make those 7 touches versus making 2 or 3 and giving up? Diane, in response to your curiosity about no questions, what are you saying is clear or what you are? Oh, okay. Thank you, Diane. That's very sweet of you. Happy New Year. Appreciate it. And so that's what I mean by being willing to do the things that other people are just not willing to do. And that's what separates the good from the great. That's why people achieve a C- or achieve a B+. But I'm hoping that the people on the call want to achieve an A+. And this is not solely for financial gain. What I'm talking about is waking up in the morning and feeling great about yourself. That's a definition for success. It's not about how much money you have in a bank or how much money you have in your 401k or your investments. Obviously, that's very important. And obviously, that's a driving motivator to get us out of bed. But how many of you have a driving motivator of just being passionate about helping people, helping your family, helping your friends, helping your clients, helping your business? And if you're passionate about helping people, you will truly be successful. So let's dig into page 3. What Mark Sanborn talks about in his sequel book, The Pyramid of the Encore Effect. So this was his second book that he came out with, and I think he has a third one. But please, it's an easy read. It's a fun read. He's a wonderful writer. And this excerpt from The Encore Effect talks about your pyramid of possibilities. And they all happen to start with the letter P. So we start with our potential. How do you see yourself? How do you see those whom you influence? Do you see yourself, and I'm talking about some of the older people on my call, over 50, Do you see yourself as finished in terms of your spiritual and career advancement, or just getting started? Use me as an example. I just turned 67 last week, and my attitude is I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started on my third new exciting career. And I can't wait to get in front of my tennis clients and teach them and mentor them and help them be better tennis players, as I did in my financial practice, helping people financially, as I did in my menswear practice business of helping people creating product that they could sell and they could be more successful with or more profitable. So do you see yourself for what they could be or only as they are now? Do you see yourself always with that potential that you're trying to achieve, or do you feel that you've realized your potential? It's a question I want you to ask yourself. This is a question I want you to ask your significant other about yourself and about him or her. Do you feel you've arrived? Because if you feel you've arrived, it's not good. The day you feel you've arrived is the day you start to get stale. You always want to be moving and growing to a better place in every aspect of your life. You always want to be driven. And that's if you're a successful person. And when you look at the obvious successful people in life, the giants that created these amazing companies, whether it's the Elon Musks or Jeff Bezos or on and on and on, they're never satisfied with their success because they always believe that there's more lying on the other side. So they never feel that they've achieved their potential. They've reached their potential. Not a big fan of the word potential because it's usually used in retrospect. Oh my God, when this kid was 19 years old, he had a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He had so much potential to reach the major leagues. But now at 32, he's pumping gas. Never reached his potential. And potential is a great thing to have, but it should always be something that you should be striving for. And then when you hit that plateau, you have to look at yourself to create a new challenge. And you should always be stair-stepping up your life until you get to the end of your life and you look back and you say, look what I've achieved. Look at all the lives I've touched. You know, I have a running joke with my wife, and she always laughs when I bring it up. And I say it, partially in jest, but deep down inside, I really mean it. One of my goals in life, and you're going to laugh, is to meet everybody in this world. I want to now you see, you're laughing, Jerry. I want to make contact with everybody in this world. And it's a big challenge, particularly with Asia. I mean, with the billions of people they have, it's going to be tough. But seriously, I love people. I am driven by contact. And every day, one of my goals when I get out of bed is to be able to meet 1 to 3 new people, shake hands, have a conversation. And Jeff knows me very well. Jeff and I have probably close to a 20-year relationship, and he has seen me in action. And I just gravitate to people. I want to make people happy. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people smile. I want to bring that to them. That indigenous personality that I have, whether it's good or bad, I want to share it with people. The people that like it gravitate towards me. The people that don't like it, never see them again. That's okay. Can't be right for everybody. Can't bat 1,000. So I would agree, this is the author, that remarkable people view themselves and others as people with unlimited potential, just waiting to be developed. But we don't have time to wait. I'm 67. I don't have time to wait. I have to do things now. Right, Jerry? Right, Kev? Now. There is no time like the present. Make today a great first day for the rest of your life by taking some of these concepts, ideas, and thoughts and embracing them and using them, utilizing them in your life. And if you're able to take one of these concepts, one of these thoughts, then I feel I've done a great job as a speaker. Purpose. Potential without purpose is like a sheet of metal that has not yet been formed to make a useful object. As Viktor Frankl said, wrote in his amazing book, Man's Search for Meaning, there is nothing in this world that would so effectively help one to survive, even in the worst conditions, as the knowledge that there is meaning in one's life. What is your meaning in your life? Find your meaning, find your purpose, find your stride, is what we say, and live a great life. Remarkable people not only have recognized their potential, but discovered the purpose, the mold, the channel, the press that will give shape and value to their potential. Look, I went through what you're going through, those of you that are in between opportunities. I don't like the word job. I like the word opportunities. And so for about 2-3 years, I was floundering. I was lost. I was upset, depressed, sad at times. And that's not me. I've never been like that. But I've never been thrown into a situation where I didn't have a place to go all of a sudden. And this is going back to the early 2000s, before I became licensed as a financial advisor. So I bounced around and I took some part-time jobs, and I was just feeling my way around. I was just trying on different suits till I found a suit that I was comfortable in, as a clothing metaphor. And I did that for almost 17 years very successfully, and I loved it. But it came a time where I felt I had to move on. I felt that there was another purpose in my life. And I've always loved tennis, and tennis has given me so much in my life over the 50 years that I've played. This is my way of giving back to the great sport of tennis. And I can't be happier, can't be happier. And how many of you are happy? And that's what we're always looking for in our lives. We're always seeking happiness. What is happiness to you? Happiness to me is a full life, a life filled with wonderful people, things to do, places to go. And at the end of the day, when my head hits the pillow, I always take a minute and I have like a sales meeting with myself. And I go, how was your day? And I'll say, it was a good day. I did this, I did that. I helped this person, whatever the case may be. And then I get some sleep, and then I bolt out of bed. I don't wake up. I don't hit the snooze alarm. I can't wait to embrace the next day. And I think that is an important part of living a great life. Passion. Passion comes from a commitment born of doing what you love and doing it for people who matter to you. So if you're not doing something, if you're doing something that you're not passionate about, and you're just going through the motions to get a paycheck, or you're just going through the motions to hit your pension or whatever the case may be, while there's value in that, you're not enjoying your life. You're not living a passionate life. Why can't I enjoy what I do and make money at it and help people? Why can't I have it all? Not getting any comments in the chat box, but maybe like Diane said, everything's going so well that you guys are speechless or typeless. There's a word. Or chatless. It's okay. Principles. When what you say is reflected and amplified by how you live your life, you're certain to live a remarkable life. Principles. So the little scenario I give is you're walking along the street and you see a wallet. And what are your principles? You see a wallet on the ground and you pick up the wallet and you look for identification, you look for something. And your principle is, what do you do when no one's looking? Do you contact the person and return the wallet and the $460 that are in it? Or do you just put it in your pocket? Whatever your principles are. It's what you do. It's how you behave when the curtain is down, when no one's looking. Those are principles. Turning the page to page 4, perseverance. I would say that for me, and maybe many of you, that would be a great word to describe who you are. I know that some of the words came up with resilience earlier and passion, but think of the word perseverance. Ernest Hemingway, as a remarkable writer, his mantra was above all, endure. Don't let anything get in the way of what you want to do or how you want to help or what you want to achieve. Don't make excuses. Remarkable people don't simply endure, they exercise persistence or really perseverance. And I like the word perseverance over persistence, but his quote was persistence. They refuse to give in to despair. They work hard at doing what is right. Perseverance is a strategic word that suggests purposeful action. It's what makes, here's one of my favorite quotes. It's what makes the impossible possible, the possible likely, and the likely definite. So I'm a wordsmith. Semantically, there's a cavernous difference between persistence and perseverance, yet people use it interchangeably. So when you look inside the word persistence, what do you see? There's a word inside the word that describes what it is. And that word is insist. Okay, there are letters in there that make up the word insist. But when you look inside the word perseverance, what word do you see? And the word that I see that comes out is serve. I want to serve you. I don't want to nag you and be insistent on doing business with you. And I'll go back because I'm a real student of selling, that the original word to sell was a Nordic word, and the word was selvig, was the original derivation of it. And selvig in English, in Norwegian, really meant to serve. So I don't know how many of you are on the call that are in the world of sales or marketing, but I would hope that you see yourself as somebody that serves versus somebody that sells. And in today's world, when you talk about, oh, I'm in sales, the immediate connotation is you're a fast-talking salesman and you're trying to sell me something that I really don't want and need, versus being a great seller who has highly developed listening skills and listens for what the prospect wants or needs. And then you fill that want or need with your product or service. That's
Fred, there's a good question here that Kevin asked. You mentioned that you explored life for 3 years. Bingo, you found your passion again. Any thoughts on how to do it faster and what you did during those 3 years to keep yourself on track?
Great, Kevin. Well, what I did is I did, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed, because a lot of people do it. I bounced around. I took some what we call ghost jobs. So a company would hire me to design a line for them, but my name wasn't on it. It was the company's name. And I did that to generate some income because I had little kids in those days and I needed to make a living. So I would take jobs within the industry because that's all I knew and so I did that for about 1.5 years of the 3 years, and then slowly started to look and realize that that was a dead end industry, the men's industry, in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then I started to meet with people that would be able to tell me through testing and through discussion what I'm best suited for, or what other industries I'm best suited for. So that took about 1 year. So it was about 2.5 years until I discovered that being a financial advisor would be a great fit for me, for who I am. And so, when I closed my business in actually 2001, I closed it May of 2001 before 9/11. From 2001 to 2004 is when I went through this transitional journey. But immediately when I closed it, I had to continue to bring income in. So that's why I bounced around taking these part-time gigs within the clothing industry.
So you really didn't focus on what your next step would be until you realized that what you used to do isn't going to happen again, and you need to find something else. And then you started doing informational interviews and
Yep.
some
And
tests.
a lot of reading and a lot of research. And I was blessed with a few people in my life that were in that industry of recruiting, and they had PhDs, and they knew me well socially. So they took the time to run me through all the tests and emerge with, here's 3 or 4 industries that I think you'd be perfect for. And I immediately gravitated to the financial industry and got licensed and got hired in 2004. And then from there, from 2004 to late 2020, did that and loved it. But what has happened in the financial industry, as some of you may know, is it's gotten ridiculously compliant, and there's so many stringent rules and regulations that have come down through the SEC and FINRA, and it's getting more and more difficult. And I said, at my age, this is a perfect time to sell my practice, move on to something else, because it wasn't about helping people. It wasn't about selling. It wasn't about production. It was all about satisfying all of these compliant rules from FINRA and the SEC, with an unbelievable amount of unnecessary paperwork and all the hoops. I used to use the word hoops that we were forced to jump through just to do business, just to help people, whether they be individuals or small business owners. So I hope my response was helpful to you, Kevin, and thank you for your question. Personalization, the U factor, page 4, how you use your purpose, principles, perseverance that makes the actions you, that makes them unique and indigenous to you. No one else in this world is you. And you should take that as a gift, that there are no two people that are alike. That if you want to do business with Jerry, you got to do business with Jerry. You can't do business with somebody that's kind of sort of like Jerry. If you want the Jerry show, that's it. So my point, ladies and gentlemen, is to live a remarkable life, to move people in a positive way, whether it's in the workplace, at home, on stage, in the community, in your chosen church. If we aren't moving people to a better place in their lives, then we're missing the point of our life. And that's what it's all about. Moving people forward in a positive way, which is what we're doing on this workshop today. How are we doing on time, Jeff?
We're good. We got another 10 or 15 minutes we can go.
Okay. So I'm going to touch on page 5, if you will, Jeff. And what I'm asking you to do, because everybody has this workbook that Jeff sent out electronically, take the time, make the time to fill in that quadrant of assets, liabilities, talents, and skills. Early on, when I stumbled on this, I did this with my wife. So if you have a significant other in your life, fill this out individually, and at the same time, make a copy for him or her to fill it out individually. In other words, no influence from either one of you. Then get together, meet in the kitchen, living room, whatever, and look at the two. So you're seeing what you feel are your assets, your value state, your talents, your skills, your liabilities, and you're seeing what your significant other perceives those to be. And that exercise will prove to be hugely valuable. Maybe take that and have lunch with some close friends, or a close family member and send them this quadrant and say, what I'm asking you to do, you want to help me in my opportunity search. What I'm asking you to do is fill this out. And then I want to meet with you over a cup of coffee or lunch or dinner or whatever. And I want to compare it, because the more you get feedback from people on how they perceive you, the better you'll be, the better brand you'll be, the more focused you'll be. So that's all I have to say on page 5, since I only have a precious few minutes left. Page 6 talks all about success. So I'm going to take you through a few of the bullet points. You've heard a million times how to create goals, how to create SMART goals. And the acronym for SMART is creating specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. Eat that elephant one bite at a time. Set a 1-month goal, then set a 3-month goal, then set a 6-month goal on whatever you want to achieve. And in this particular case, it's a new opportunity. It might be a new relationship. It might be a new anything. Whatever it is, whatever is important to you, you need to set goals, and you need to set the goals in that SMART aspect. Don't set unachievable goals, unrealistic goals. That's where we fall short. My other acronym that I created was BABY. Be a better you. Baby yourself. Always be looking to be better. So every year I come up with a word at the beginning of the year, and I use that word. I use that word as a compass, and I follow that word in everything I do. And so in 2021, which was an amazing transitional year for me, transitioning out of my financial practice into my tennis teaching business, the word I used that I harbored was savor. And I love the word savor. Savor each and every moment of your life. We're so busy blowing through things that we don't take the time to enjoy the little things in life. That was my word for 2021. My word for 2022 happens to be better. In everything I do, I'm trying to be better, trying to be a better person, be a better husband, be a better father, now be a better grandfather, be a better business person, be a better teaching pro, all those things. And if we don't constantly hold ourselves to a higher bar, we're never going to be better. We're never going to achieve greatness in our lives. Success. Take some time as part of these assignments to define what success is to you. It's very different. The definitions, they're very different to every one of you. They're very individual and personalized. Create your own definition from your perception and your experiences. Then here's the key. Take that definition, set it into motion. I talked earlier about the common denominator of success. You could write into your workbook, doing the things that unsuccessful people are just not willing to do. So I have a few minutes left. Jeff?
Yes, please go ahead.
Let's go to page 8. So you got a page for notes and another acronym. I'm big on acronyms. I love the acronym of PASSION. Put a serious spin in and on newness. How can you reinvent yourself daily, monthly, yearly? Some of you may be saying to yourself, wow, you know what? This guy's asking me to do a lot. That's a lot of work. Yep, it is. You're all you got. So why not put the work into yourself? You put the work into your significant other. You put the work into your kids, into your friends. When are you going to take the time to put the work into yourself? Develop that value-added statement, because no one is you. Then I'm going to wrap up by talking quickly about first impressions. And first impressions encompass that 7-second scan. So psychologists, experts say that within 7 seconds of meeting somebody, whether it's electronically on a Zoom call or we used to meet in person. I know it's been a while, but we still do. And we will. We'll come out of this whole pandemic thing. And so when you meet somebody, even before you make eye contact, even before you shake hands, even before you speak. People will create a 7-second scan, like a loaf of bread going, buying a loaf of bread in Tom Thumb, that scanner. And they'll create that first impression before you open up your mouth. So it's very important that you present yourself in a positive professional way, whether it's the way you dress, whether it's the way you wear your hair, whatever the case may be. Eye contact, hugely important. Handshake, obviously in our pandemic era, handshakes aren't important, just like the elevator speech has gone the way of the 8-track tape player. Vocabulary. I love the English language. I love language. And those words are there to be used. Try to develop your vocabulary. And there used to be that little square pad that was on your, it was called the word of the day. We used to have on our desks the word of the day, and you'd learn a word every day. Learn a word every day. Go for the secondary words. Go for the tertiary words. Don't just use the common words. Get people to say, what do you mean by that? And get them to lean in and become interesting. Create charisma. Be magnetic. Vocabulary, using the 4 E's when you're meeting with somebody, when you're talking to somebody, when you're presenting. Be entertaining, be engaging, be enriching, and always be educating. Probably the 2 most important things for your first impression, particularly if you're in sales and marketing, is number 1, become likable. Are you likable? Do people say, I like you? I just like you. You're a nice guy, nice woman. I like you. Because if you're not likable, then people don't want to buy from people they don't like. People don't want to do business with people they don't like. And then credibility. But the credibility is more of what you are, becoming credible, or having your certifications, licensing. That gives you credibility, your past successes. But being likable is who you are. And then in our next segment, we're going to do a deep dive onto the business card branding now that you have all this information, and hopefully you'll have put in some time for yourself and done some of the homework assignments. And we'll talk about the who and the what of you going on a business card. And lastly, for today, I want to wrap up by talking about competitive advantage. Always be evaluating how you can add value to the people in your life, whether they be business or social, family. What else can I do for you? What else can I do for you? Even though I've done what you've asked me to do, what else can I do for you? Have that will-do attitude, not a can-do attitude. And lastly, I found tremendous success in becoming a resource to everyone in my life, being that go-to person. I don't know. Let's ask Fred. And I enjoy that. I love when people ask me, whether it's my opinion or whatever the case may be. So be that resource if you can. And so next Friday, we'll talk about how to sell yourself. We'll continue to share about building the brand, and hopefully I'll get a lot of response in the chat box from the work that you've done. And if there are any parting comments in the chat box, we have a minute or 2 left. I'll patiently wait. And if there aren't any responses in the chat box, I want to wish each and every one of you a very healthy, happy, and prosperous 2022. Make this the year of you. Make this the year of progress, and make this the year of better. Thank you.
Fred, thank you very much. Anybody have any comments? You're welcome just to unmute your mic, and you can offer your comments up. Let's see, where do I get these worksheets, please? Let me put it back again into I put it in the chat box a couple of seconds ago. Here it is again. You can download it from here, and I'll put it in the email next week. As long as I have everybody's contact information, I'll be sure to add it to the email I put out this afternoon. Any comments, anybody? Fred, I don't know how you can stay so positive. I mean, I guess having a grandbaby at 1 o'clock in the morning helps, but you know, every time you're with us, I mean, I think it's just a great presentation. So
Thank you very much. It's really the only way that I can enjoy my life is by staying positive, upbeat. Here's a nice word, buoyant. I love to stay buoyant. The opposite of buoyant is drowning. So no fun in drowning.
how did you come up with the word better? I mean, how do you come up with the word for the year?
Somewhere around Thanksgiving, I take about the better part of a month, and I just try to think of a word, think of a goal, something that I want to embrace every day of my life by doing. And like I said, last year it was savor. And I found myself when I was brushing my teeth last year, actually saying, wow, I love the taste of this new toothpaste. Where in years past, I didn't have time to stop and smell those proverbial roses and savor. So things like that. I love to cook, and I've been cooking so much in 2021 and enjoying trying different flavors and savoring the food that I cook for my family and my friends. So this year, it's whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to try to take 2021 and make 2022 better in little ways, not big ways, in little ways. And whatever it's worth, it works for me. And I'm hoping it'll work for some of you that are on the Zoom call.
No, Fred, I think you're so positive because you're so grateful for what you have.
I am. You know, that's such a wonderful word, and I know a lot of us are grateful. But you know, you say you've been blessed. Well, there's a part of you that gets blessed, but there's a part of you that creates your own blessings. That you create your own blessings. You create a blessed life, a wonderful life, a healthy life, a happy life. I was not healthy 2 years ago. I was 246 pounds, and I got a horrible scare. And the day that I got my diagnosis was the day that I changed how I eat food, how I see food, how I process all the food that I eat. And I completely changed my diet. And through the diet and through tennis, within 2 years, I went from 246 to 185, lost about 60 pounds, and stayed that way. And I feel like $1 million. With inflation, probably $2 million. But I feel like $1 million because I'm able at 67. I'm still able to do everything that I always wanted to do at age 40, and it's because I made that decision that day when I got that horrible diagnosis. And today, I just got an amazing clean bill of health in December from my internist, and that's why I'm so grateful and so happy. But you work it at the blessings. You work at being grateful. Anything worthwhile doesn't come easy. It's work.
The last question I have or request is that you mentioned word of the day, and it kind of reminds me of a show I watched when I was a little baby called Groucho Marx, and he had a word of the day. He had a word of the week with a bird coming out there.
Say the magic word and the duck come down and crap on your ass.
So maybe can you create a magic word for next week? Don't tell it what it is. When someone hits the word, we get praise.
I will. I will. I love that, Kevin. I love that. Yeah. Anybody ever tell you that you look like the famous actor? His last name was Boyle. He was in Young Frankenstein, and he did a great movie called Joe.
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle. Anybody ever tell you look like Peter Boyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a TV show too. I don't know.
He had a TV show, and he was Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein. I'm not saying you're Frankenstein. I'm saying you're Peter Boyle.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I'll have that. The secret word. Say the secret word, and the duck will come down. Thank you very much. You bet your life. Yes, I'll have that secret word. And when that secret word comes up, everyone loves Raymond. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, later in his career, he was Ray Romano's dad.
Walt, you had a
he had
comment?
TV show back in the late 60s and 70s that put him on the map. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I'll have that secret word. And if the secret word comes up, you'll win a cookie.
All
Or a
right,
whatever.
all right.
Thank you.
Kevin,
Anything
thanks.
else
Walt,
from
do you have a comment?
Just something personal for Fred. Yesterday, Fred, I could not explain to you what it's like to have a grandchild. Today, you're beginning to understand what that is. And it's only the beginning. You've got more to learn.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, while I've been on the Zoom call, I've gotten 11 FaceTimes from all of my family members, including my daughter with her new baby in the hospital. And I can't wait to go back. Of course, I didn't take the call because my focus was on this Zoom call. But
Yeah, you'll be
you know
able
what I
to.
can't wait? You know what I can't wait to do, Walt? I can't wait to smell her.
Yeah.
That new baby smell. It's like a new car smell, but with a face and a tushy. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those eyes are what you look at. They're so fresh
Yeah.
and clean and new. I mean, it's just amazing. And you'll understand the phrase, you wish you had had your grandchildren first.
Yeah, it puts you in a very enviable position to love them and spoil them and then say, bye-bye, gotta go.
Well, Fred, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you next week. For everybody else, so next Friday, Fred will be talking about how to be a better brand part 2. We'll talk a little bit about business cards and some other things. We'll get all that information out to everybody this afternoon. If you have not put your 30-second introductions into the chat window, please do so I can get you on the roster, so that I can make sure you get a copy of everybody, all the contact information of everybody who's been with us today. So please do that before we end this call. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Hopefully you'll join us next Tuesday for LinkedIn Tuesdays. Ruth Lipscomb will be with us to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. On Wednesday, the practice interview team, you'll be able to watch an actual practice interview from the pit crew. It'll only be on Zoom, not on Facebook. It won't be recorded. So if you want to watch it, you do need to be with us live at 1 o'clock Central Time. Next Thursday, third Thursday of the month, we'll be talking about resumes. Locke Alderson will be with us to talk about what recruiters look for in resumes. So you can join us for that. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. You're welcome to share it, and I'll put the link out in the email this afternoon, a little short email, a short link, so that if there's any friends or anybody else you know who'd like to watch it, they can watch it, and you can share the information with them. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist, and then down where you see view full playlist, click there, and then that's where you'll find all the different events and all the different titles and topics that we've talked about. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Have a great weekend, and enjoy the nice weather today before it gets nice and chilly tomorrow. I guess today's the day to go out and chop some wood to have ready for your fireplace tomorrow. So everybody have a great weekend.